Minister will break and head down the other end of the room and deal with some media time. So tēnā tātou. Let us open this up. Tūria, tūria te matahau no rangi. Tūria, tūria te matahau no papa. Paiheretia te tangata ki te kawa tupua, ki te kawa tawhito. He kawa ora, he kawa ora. He kawa ora ki te tangata, he kawa ora ki te whānau. He kawa ora ki te iti, ki te rahi. He kawa tātaki ki au mauai. Tūturu o whiti whakamaua kia tīnā. Haumie huie, tai ki e. Nō reira i runga i tērā, ko koenei taku nei mihi tuatahi ki a Ngāti Whātua. Ai te mana whenua te rohe nei, mai te maunga o takaparawhau tai ati ki kaipara. Nō reira Ngāti Whātua tēnā tātou. Me te tini e te mano e noho mai nei i roto i tāmaki makaurau, mai te raki pai whenua, mai ngā ākau o te wai o te mata, whakawhiti atu ki te mā nuka o hotu roa ki te rataha, neke atu ki te wai tākere, nuku mai anō ki ngā maunga, ki maunga whau, ki maunga rei, ki maunga kia, e ki ana te hautūtanga raonga tūpuna e. Nō reira, tēnā tātou e noho mai nei i roto i tāmaki makaurau. Me te mea anō hoki e tikana me mehati ki tō tātou nei kiingi, tūheitia pō tātou te whero te tuawhitu, pe te kāhui āreki e noho mai rā ki te tonga. Nō reira rātou ki a rātou, pai mārire. Hoki mā anō ki a tātou nei, e tikana me mihi hoki ki tō tātou nei tini aitua, ngā mate huhua puta noi te motu, mai te hiku o te ika, tai ati ki raki ura, whakawhiti atu ki whare kauri hoki māno ki anai. Nō reira rātou kua whe tūrangi tia, ngā tini tōtara kua hinga mai rā i ngā mārama kua pāhure ake nei, haere, whakangaro atu. Hoi hoki mai anō ki a tātou nei ngā kanohi ora, tēnā tātou. It is my great pleasure to welcome you here this morning, Minister Little, Minister Henare, who will join us shortly. Those of you from Auckland here, Harry, Pat, koutou mā, who have carried the weight of, I guess, the work with the sector. And to our many colleagues joining in online, it's been quite a while. I would like to, at this moment, turn to and just make sure we've got our health and safety things sorted, and also to invite Joe Ogg, who's the Auckland office managing partner for EY, who are hosting this event. Joe, can I bring you to the stage? Tēnā koe.
Thanks, Chad, and welcome everyone. Just from a health and safety perspective, let's get that covered off. And in the extreme event that we do have to do something like get down a stairwell or somehow take some action, if you could just follow the EY people who will be directing you to whatever action is that we need to take. So hopefully we won't need to be doing that. But look, good morning and welcome. It's a real privilege to have you all here with us in person today. This is probably the first external event EY's been able to host for many months, and we feel that that's a really fitting event that we see you here today. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Minister Little, thank you. This budget, I think, has been highly anticipated, and yesterday the Minister of Finance announced a record investment in health. This investment we see is going to start the transformation of the sector. All New Zealanders have an interest in health. We all use the system, and therefore I think hearing from you, Minister Little, today will be really good to hear about your pivotal health budget and what we can learn a little more from you. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you online to those that have dialed in, and I'm going to hand back to you, Chad. Thank you.
Kia ora, Joe, and thanks again to EY for hosting this event this morning. So, the health reforms. It's been, I guess, Minister, a year and a half since something like that, since you were appointed the Health Minister. And at around about the same time that we in the sector heard the news of your appointment, we sort of heard some strange reports coming out of China about some respiratory illness that was affecting a few people in Wuhan, and then the world changed. But you have come in to a role and grabbed the mantle of change with the health reform process and driven that hard over the last year and a half. And it's been an intensive period. And I think we are, as of today, Friday, we are 6 weeks away from the 1st of July and the start of the new system. And the clock is ticking. And we understand legislation is in line, and the Paiora Healthy Futures Bill is on track to formally establish things that Rihanna and the team and Rob and the team are bringing Health New Zealand and the Māori Health Authority online. And Ashley and his team with the Ministry of Health are shaping and adjusting for their change and their new role in the system as well. And then I think, Minister, the workers and the staff, our frontline players who have kind of held the space over the last kind of couple of years, and the chairs and boards and Cs who have been managing the teams across the system have been under a lot of pressure. We see it, you've acknowledged it before, but it's been there. And I think, I speak on behalf of all our colleagues, we were looking for a
Good morning, everyone. It is wonderful to be with you here in Auckland this morning. And I want to acknowledge some of the wonderful guests we have with us. Nationals Party President Peter Goodfellow. Can I acknowledge my colleagues? I know I have Erica Stanford here with us today, and I have former colleagues here today. The Honourable Paula Bennett, our former Deputy Leader, Agnes Lawheeney, former parliamentary colleague. Yesterday, we had a budget. We had a budget at a time when New Zealand is facing a cost of living crisis unlike one we have experienced in a generation. And I think what New Zealanders expected from that budget was a pathway out, a sense that the government had a plan that would ensure that people could once again get ahead and that they could rely on the government to have balanced books and to ensure that there would be sustainable economic growth into the future. Instead, what they got, unfortunately, was a backwards budget. A backwards budget that for many New Zealand households will mean over the coming months their incomes will not keep up with the cost of living. Their household budgets will be incredibly stretched and many of them will go backwards. A backwards budget that means our books as a country, the government books, are going further into debt, with deficits forecast into future years and where we were hoping we would be in surplus. And a budget that takes us backwards by once again not focusing on careful, disciplined spending that drives outcomes, but instead having a spray and walk away approach. And New Zealand needs much better than that. We don't need short-term band-aids that amount to the cost of a flight to Australia. Instead, what we need,
as there are limits on any area of public spending, all investment should be concentrated on the key areas that will bring benefits for people across New Zealand. We need to invest to address inequity, to develop our future workforce, and to ensure people can get the right type of healthcare when and where they need it. But one budget does not make a health system transformation. Transformation takes time. Budget 22 is about getting the foundations right so we have a solid platform to launch from as we undertake longer-term transformation. We have a big challenge ahead of us.